Folks, welcome into That Betting Show. MLK Day, January 21st, Monday, 2019. He's Teddy Savransky. Give him a follow on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour. Give me a follow on Twitter at RightSideVP. Your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs, designed to be in 20 minutes or less. We can't wait any longer out there, folks. Let's get right to it here. Conference championship fallout, amazing plays, amazing gaffes, referees participating when they shouldn't be, or should they be participating? We'll get right into it. The call that wasn't down in the dome, Teddy, and we'll get to all that as it filters out. You watched yesterday, both of these games lined at -3. You thought you would get some shenanigans. Both games down to the wire in overtime, Teddy. First thoughts yesterday, conference championship. Wow, for me.
Well, as a bettor, there's no way to be happy. Doesn't matter if you won or lost yesterday. There's no way to be happy with what happened on the field, particularly when it comes to calls or non-calls, deciding who gets to go to the Super Bowl, deciding under or over, deciding which sides. That's not what bettors want, okay? Yeah, excitement, good. No one has a problem with excitement. But people want clear results, not refs determining games. They want the stuff on the field to be deciding who gets to go to the Super Bowl, not the coin flip for who gets the ball first in overtime. That's what happened yesterday. It was nothing but controversy. And, I mean, Belichick outcoached Reed, all right? Sean Payton did not outcoach Sean McVay, not even a little bit. In fact, Payton got rewarded for making multiple bad decisions in that ballgame. We'll get to it. I mean, but the bottom line is, as bettors, we're not happy. Doesn't matter. Even if you cashed yesterday with the Saints or with the Rams and the Patriots, you went 2-0, you cashed an under in one, you cashed an over in the other. Even if you cashed every right side, there were no right sides. If you cashed every side in total yesterday, you're still not happy because you know that the outcomes were somewhat fraudulent. And that's not the way bettors like to see games decided.
No, absolutely not. We'll get to some key plays there, Teddy. I thought, the atmosphere in the Dome was absolutely incredible. When you're watching the Rams out there try to operate and the tackles are talking to the guards, nobody can understand what's going on. And I thought there was some missed opportunities early because you saw right away the Saints move the football down the field, had a dropped, touchdown pass. I believe it was 3rd and 7 to a backup tight end or backup wide receiver, ends up 3-0. Then you get the bounce off Todd Gurley's fingertips. And now you can see like that, momentum tide completely going against the Rams. And Sean Payton goes real conservative there, and they end up only getting up 6-0 early, Teddy. Talk about where, the aggressiveness or what we're looking to do. A slip screen on 3rd and 10 to set up a chip shot field goal. Didn't understand that call from Sean Payton early.
I don't understand a lot of calls from Sean Payton. And Sean, again, everyone's going to talk about the pass interference at the end of the game. All right. Yep. The Saints shouldn't have even been in that spot. All right. They should have been in control of this contest. They were clearly the better team. They had an opportunity to dominate the game early, and they didn't. And then, 4th quarter, game on the line. Let's be honest. Drew Brees stunk. Okay. Drew Brees did not play like a Super Bowl quarterback with the game on the line in the 4th quarter against the Rams. And there's no sugarcoating it. Drew Brees was not good enough to get his team to the Super Bowl. So, the missed pass interference call. And the missed pass interference call is unconscionable. I mean, how does that happen? I don't know how it happens. I really don't. I have no answers.
What's interesting, Teddy?
I do know this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, go on.
I was going to say, what was really interesting in this one was on in the first half, some similarities between the Eagles game and the Saints game the previous week before. How about 13-0, having your hands on the other team's throat, squeezing the life out of them, and then all of a sudden you fall for the fake punt as well, which actually only set up a field goal, but really changed the momentum of that game, talking up 13-0. Great play, ballsy calls, you want to say, by the Rams, but same thing with the Saints game last week, who the Saints used it to their advantage. Might have gave a little bit of kick in the butt there for the Rams to sort of get off the schneid there and feel like they're back in the ball game.
What's the difference? I mean, there's 18 different, this was the difference in the game, but the execution of the fake punt and the fact that the Saints weren't ready for it at all, not even a little bit, that's on the coaching staff. And, Payton's, he's allowed to blame the refs. The Saints didn't play well. Payton was outcoached, plain and simple. And even though the Rams go to the Super Bowl when New Orleans is supposed to go to the Super Bowl, the missed PI, You run the ball up the middle 3 times, you kick a field goal. That's the way that game's supposed to end, and the Saints are supposed to be there. Even with that, Peyton got out-coached, man. Peyton was not the better coach, and Breeze wasn't the better QB, and the fact that the key calls went towards the Rams down the stretch, I don't know about you, it made me nervous with a KC ticket in my pocket because you had to think that one of the 2 teams with the veteran QBs was going to get the calls. Obviously, that team was New England.
Yeah, and you figured even in the second half of that game, Teddy, because the momentum starts to change before the half. It's 13-10 Rams going in. You say, all right, Rams get the football. Let's see if they can move it downfield and maybe tie the game up or even take the lead at that point. They go 3 and out to start the second half, and a fantastic drive by the Saints, Teddy. Eats up clock. You used Alvin Kamara out of the backfield almost exclusively. You punch it in to go up 20-10. The dome is rocking again, but then the Rams come right down the field, punch it in to get even closer. And then as I like to say, hell breaks loose there up into the fourth quarter as we lead into the no call, Teddy. But even, let's just take a look at the no call, right? You have the Saints with the football, and interesting, Teddy. You know what this one is even better, Teddy? Let's set it up this way. Sean McVay, 4th and 6 inches on the goal line with a big-time offensive line and 2 hammers at running back. He elects to kick the field goal instead of going for the touchdown there to take the lead, or worst-case scenario, Teddy, what? You leave the Saints with the ball on their own 1-foot line. Talk about this one.
This is McVay, who's supposed to be the bright guy, Yep. He's supposed to have figured it out. And I understand there's 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You're down by 3. Conventional wisdom, you kick the field goal from the 1-inch line. But if you're playing to win the game, you never, ever kick the field goal there. In fact, all the guys were running the percentages, the math guys running the percentages, 55% chance of winning if they go for it on 4th down, 42% chance of winning if they kick the field goal. It's like a significant difference. And McVay made the wrong call. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He ended up getting saved because of the non-pass interference call, but the decision to kick the field goal with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, down 3 from the 1-inch line, was a bad decision. It was a failure by the guy who's supposed to be one of the brightest, if not the brightest, young head coach in the league. Failure. Of course, he ends up paying out. He pays off because he goes to get to the Super Bowl anyway.
Yep, everybody seemed to gloss over that. Oh, man, what a great performance by the Rams and their young head football coach. I could almost see, Ted, if it was a tie ball game at that point, you wanted to take the lead to maybe flip momentum back to New Orleans. But let's get right down to the crux of this game here. You have a big play, which I don't know anything what's going on in the secondary for the St. Louis Rams. Looks like a punt thrown up in the air. Ted Ginn comes down with it at the 15-yard line at the 2-minute warning. 2 timeouts left for the Rams. You can argue each and every way, which way it was going to go. For me, I'm not from that old Bill Parcells mentality. I have a real good running game. I have 3 plays to run here to kill 2 of your timeouts. And even if we don't get the first down, the worst case scenario is we kick a chip shot field goal. You have under a minute to go with no timeouts. They throw the ball on first down incomplete, toss sweep that gains nothing, and then the monstrous pass interference call, which basically decided the game at that point. Because if you catch the ball, don't catch the ball, but there is a flag, it's 1st and goal from the 4. You take a couple knees, you kick a chip shot, nobody gets the ball back, and you win. And this is going to lead into a little bit of all topic a little bit later in here, pass interference, if we're going to review those or not. But just an amazing thing. But look, Sean Payton helped in this cause here to get to that point when maybe it shouldn't have, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, Peyton was a clown yesterday, flat out. I don't know how to. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And of course, after the game, the refs. I was on the phone with the refs, and I wasn't impressed with either coach in that contest. But certainly, when you talk about the decision making and the play calling, I'm never going to blame a coach for being aggressive. I'm not. And I didn't mind the first down pass there, just like I didn't mind Russell Wilson throwing the pass that got picked off in the end zone. Sometimes you have to go against the grain. The issue there wasn't the play call. It was that Drew Brees was so done at that stage, he couldn't throw a freaking 5-yard pass. Yep. Brees is throwing the ball at his ankles. That's an easy pass for any quarterback. That one's on the QB, not on the head coach. Of course, 3rd down, that one's on the refs, not on the coach. And again, I don't mind the aggressive play call there. We complain when the coaches aren't aggressive. We can't complain when they are, and it doesn't work out.
Yeah, and then you get to overtime, you get the interception. But it's just one more gaffe, I thought, which was, I don't even want to say hilarious. The Saints get a little bit of a dome call in overtime on a pass interference play, which was fine. So, it was a makeup call. They get the first down. But the very next play, Ted, if you remember, Mark Ingram takes a handoff and loses 2 yards. And for some reason, they allowed the defender to turn him around, which his forward progress was completely stopped. He runs 4 yards backwards and gets tackled, and it's 2nd and 16. The very next play, Fowler makes a play to get in there, disrupt Drew Brees, and they get the interception. 57-yard field goal by Greg DeLeg Zerline puts them in the Super Bowl. Just incredible. But you know what? You say, man, what a game. And then we get to another game, Teddy, right after it in the AFC, which is just as controversial. And how about the Patriots coming back saying, we're setting the tone? Almost an identical drive, Teddy, to what the Patriots did against the Los Angeles Chargers, to what they did to Kansas City. Take the football, go right down the field, 8 minutes, punch it in for a touchdown, 3 and out Kansas City, then take it right back down the field. And on 3rd and inches, Tom Brady throws an interception, which if they would have just punched in and ran the football, that game's probably over at that point, 14-0, but a little bit of life for the Chiefs there to start.
I don't know that game was over because Kansas City, if they go up 14-0 early, because the Chiefs have the capacity to make big plays and get back in the game, as we saw. Belichick shut them out in the first half. They hung 31 after halftime against New England. But certainly, Brady getting fooled by the linebacker, dropping back into coverage. Tom Brady showing signs of being human. And the Pats, who had a chance to really put their foot down early and take control of that game, that INT was huge in the contest. And it was a big mistake by New England. I know they made a whole lot more big mistakes as the game went on, however.
Teddy, how about this one? I know you're going to be in on this one here. The Patriots get the football. It's 7-0. Patrick Mahomes has a bad drive the drive before. They're moving the football downfield, takes a sack out of field goal range, misses a wide open player. But talk about, I think it was 3 to 4 minutes left before the half. The Patriots have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 10-yard line and don't look to be in any hurry whatsoever. Almost look like Teddy, they're saying, let me get a first drive or two and stop it. And then Andy Reid calls the timeout on 3rd down, and we know what happened after that.
It was, and I'm just looking at the play-by-play, so I don't miss anything. It was, and here's the thing that's making me crazy about it. Nobody's talking about it today. It's all forgotten that Andy Reid literally gifted Tom Brady and New England a touchdown right before halftime. Gifted it to them in a game that you can't do that. And all right, we know Belichick's good, and we know Reid screws up in the playoffs and all of that. Fine. Okay. The one thing that Andy Reid can't do is fuck up at that level. And my God, as it happened, I'm like, are you kidding me? You should have seen me. I was going nuts. Before the Patriots drove down the field and went in the Super Bowl. This is what you do. You played a terrible first half. You got saved by an interception. You have the other team third down,
and you get ball to start second half. Yeah.
Yes. And New England's just running the ball to try to stop the half. The Patriots were not going down the field on that drive until Andy Reid called the timeout. As soon as Reid called it, and he didn't even call the timeout after 3rd down. He called it after 2nd down, which allowed New England to have time to make the pass on 3rd down and make the conversion and on down the line. Next thing you know, it's Patriots touchdown. That was all Andy Reid, really. And as bad as you played, to be down 7-0 going into half, that's great. You get the ball first. I couldn't have thought of a better scenario than watching New England run the ball twice. I'm like, hey, Chiefs are in good shape. And then Reid calls a timeout. And I'm like, what did you just do, man? What did you just do? Have you not learned you cannot give Tom Brady that? And he did. And in the end, it cost him the game, even though, again, I read the top 16 miscues from yesterday. It wasn't listed. I read another one, Barnwell's top 12. And this one has 18 plays that mattered. The play that mattered most was Andy Reid calling that timeout. It was this most egregious bad decision that I've seen in the NFL coaching in I don't even know how long. I can't think of a worse
and you know what
one.
the interesting part of it was, too, Teddy? You start the second half off. Let's just say they go to the half and it's 7-0. Well, Chiefs woke up, scored in a minute and a half to open up the second half. Instead of being at 7-7, it's 14-7. But as the game played out there, started to get a little bit hairy. And let's talk about sitting on an under ticket in this one. 17-7 if you're sitting on, under 56. Feeling pretty good in the fourth quarter. 38 combined points. And all hell starts to break loose on the Julian Edelman no fumble call, which you could say, let's just say if you're sitting at home, I can't really tell, but the call in the field was a fumble. And they thought they saw enough to overturn it. 2 plays later, you get the interception. So it really didn't matter or factor into that point. And then comes the roughing the passer penalty where the Chiefs' arms, I think it was Chris Jones, swings down, hits the shoulder pad, they throw the flag. Now, what is it, a fourth down play, third down play? No, it still would have been 3rd and 7, so you would have to get off the field, but it certainly didn't hamper the process of the Patriots, Teddy. But heading down the stretch, and I think we all want to get to this point here. 3rd and 10, Tom Brady makes one of his few mistakes of the football game, throws a pass high to Gronkowski, tipped, intercepted. I'm celebrating my -3 in my living room with the Chiefs as a winner, and I see the flag down and couldn't believe the call, Teddy, of what it was.
Yeah, of course, it's D Ford offsides. If you watch the play, D Ford had nothing to do with the interception. It wasn't a factor at all. If you watch the replay very closely, the Patriots left tackle is about 4 yards off the line of scrimmage, which means that New England only had 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. They didn't get flagged. The Chiefs get flagged on the bullshit pass, hitting Brady seconds after Mahomes got hit the same way and didn't get a flag. The replays clearly show that he hit him in the chest, and the guy throwing the flag is behind, 10 yards behind the play and can't see what's going on. Frustrating if you like fair football. That's all I'm going to say. And, we like fair football. The Edelman, again, I had a losing ticket in that game. Doesn't matter. Okay. If you have clear video evidence that the play needs to be overturned, you overturn it. Mm-hmm. If you don't have clear video evidence that the play needs to be overturned, you don't overturn it. You tell me where the clear video evidence is that Edelman didn't fumble that ball. Oh, and by the way, they weren't even going to give him credit for the touchdown. There's no clear video evidence. In fact, again, I'm looking at it biased perspective. You can see it go off the thumb. Edelman doesn't pick up the ball in front of him unless it's right in front of him, and it hits his thumb and swerves off to the right behind him. It's clear. There's nothing you can overturn that from. Nothing. You cannot overturn that call, and yet somehow magically it gets overturned because there's clear video evidence, and who goes to the Super Bowl gets determined by that play.
Yep, exactly. We get to the coin toss and overtime and all that stuff, and 3 straight third down and long conversions in there, which was amazing. Go ahead.
How did the Patriots win all the coin flips? They won the coin flip against the Falcons in the Super Bowl. They won the coin flip against the Raiders in the Tuck game. They won the coin flip here. How did they win all the coin flips in overtime?
It's amazing. No, Tom Brady gets a lot of. We're talking about a completely different situation for Tom Brady. If the D4 doesn't line up all sides, oh man, Brady, he's done, right? 3 interceptions and 1 touchdown pass. They blew that game. Boy, he maybe should retire, but now you're talking about him as being the greatest of all time. Same thing with Sean McVay. Let's move on a little bit, Teddy, to watching a little bit of line movement out here. Super Bowl lines opened up last night. Obviously, we have 2 weeks to prepare and get ready for this game. Pick them in most spots out there. Maybe even the Rams opening up as a favorite, but that quickly shifted overnight, Teddy. 2s, even 2.5s showing up across the board and an over-under of 58. Any overreactions to this, Teddy? Because everybody just saw the greatest of all time win his game, and we all want to bet the Patriots. Or you think that's about right with the line movement there?
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes up a little bit more. I don't think it's going to get to 3. I would not be surprised at all to see New England go off at, that 2.5 range. Patriots lost Super Bowl last year. They won Super Bowl the year before. New England is the tested and ready team that's been here before. The public will recognize that. And I was having a debate. I had a buddy of mine last night, Sharp Better, who, where's this line going to close? Where's this line going to close? And he's like, it's not closing 3. And I'm like, it might close 3 because who's betting the Rams at less than +3? That's only the people that hate the Patriots. 3 is the buy price on the Rams for a number of people. We haven't seen it yet. I don't know that we're going to see it, but I wouldn't be shocked if we do. New England, they've got the track record. They have, obviously, the resume. And we've seen the Patriots in these type of Super Bowls against the young upstarts each of the last 2 years. Obviously, didn't win last year. Did a pretty good job the year before, although McVay had these Patriots on the rope. I believe his Falcons led 28-3 at some point. Well, they blew that game too. Yeah, but McVay supposedly learned a lesson from that. We'll find out on Super Bowl Sunday.
That should be fun. Watch what you bet here. 2 games. I know we're all geeked up on talking about the Super Bowl, but there are some games tonight that we like to go over. We'll hit those quickly here. ACC battle in Chapel Hill tonight on Big Monday. Virginia Tech's going to take on UNC. -4 is the number. Total 154.5 money line split. -180 +160. 7 p.m. from the Dean E. Smith Center. UNC and VTech, Teddy, both looking to go to 5-1 in ACC play. What can we look forward to tonight?
Well, I haven't been impressed at all with the Hokies on the road this season. They played 3 true road games. I backed them the first time at Penn State. I thought they were the better team. Ended up losing that game straight up to a Penn State team that has been pretty awful since the start of Big 10 play. That loss looks even worse in retrospect. They went to Georgia Tech. They beat Georgia Tech. That was an ugly game. They scored 52 in victory. Went to Virginia last week. We saw what happened in that ball game, non-competitive loss. So we're talking about a team 0-3 against the spread on the highway. They're shooting less than 40% from the floor in those ball games, allowing nearly 50. So I've got my concerns here with Virginia Tech tonight. North Carolina, a nice road win at Miami over the weekend. Mm-hmm. A win they thought that they really needed. They were tested, and they stepped up and hit shots down the stretch. No surprise they do that again this evening, even against that solid Virginia Tech defense.
By the time we air today, Teddy, a couple games already in motion on MLK Day here in the NBA. We'll take a look at an interesting one tonight on TNT National Game. Rockets and the Sixers. Sixers fresh off of thinking they had a victory with a Jimmy Butler steal and a layup, which turned into a 4-point play by Paul George and a loss for the Sixers. We'll see how they bounce back tonight against the Rockets. Sitting as favorites of -4 over under 234. Moneyline split plus 175. Minus 175 plus 155. 8 o'clock tonight. Rockets come in 9-12 on the road. Sixers, after taking the loss to Oklahoma City, come in at 19-5. Do we see the Sixers bounce back tonight, Teddy? More focused effort here, or are we just swallowing in the doldrums of we can never beat Oklahoma City? Boy, oh boy.
I don't think that there's a hangover effect for Philly whatsoever. I think they come out tonight and try to make a statement against another Western Conference team. And certainly, when you look at the numbers that James Harden's been putting up, 58, 57, and then what do you have last time? 48. He had assisted on 0 of the baskets in the 58 and 57 point efforts. I wasn't sure if he was assisting on any of the baskets the other day, but it's all one-on-one basketball for the Rockets right now. They're not playing team ball. Where they shoot 100 shot attempts, 68 of them came from beyond the arc against the Lakers in that wild come from behind win. Against the Nets the previous game, 105 shot attempts, 70 of them from beyond the arc. Just a team that jacks up threes right now. And Harden, the one superstar. Jimmy Butler on Harden. I don't trust Harden to go off tonight. Philly or pass for this better?
Off the mic, Teddy. I mean, we could spend all day talking on these. We're going to combine 2 topics here today. One, do we need pass interference now in the NFL to actually be reviewed? And to me, Teddy, it's a really, really slippery slope. Because, I mean, you can almost call it 50% of the time one way or 50% of the time another way, a subjective call to slow down the sport. We can't even get it right yesterday when we're looking at half of these plays. Nobody still knows what a catch is or a non-catch or a fumble or how you overturn something. Pass interference in the NFL, Teddy, fair or foul? Do you think that should be added to another challenge chance?
Okay, the concept of challenges and instant replay was supposed to be if there's clear video evidence, we're going to overturn the call. If there's no clear video evidence, we're going to leave the call.
With the call. Mm-hmm.
What we've seen is that it's completely random. We see calls overturned when there's no clear video evidence. We see other times where there appears to be clear video evidence and the call stands. It's failed. It will continue to fail because they're trying to do too much. So let's have more replay reviews and more judgment calls and more league decisions and more delays. No, I'm not in favor of that. It's a flawed product. This way, it'll be a flawed product. The other way, it is what it is. But the concept of, let's have more replay reviews and let the league office get involved more. No, thank you. The refs missed a call. Okay, the refs missed a call. Make sure those guys aren't reffing the big games next time around, or train your frickin' refs. That's my take. What do you think?
No, it's exactly the same way. Because, I don't need more officiating. It's a shame on the highest level they missed such an easy call, because if that call doesn't get made, the rest of them are subjective. You move on, you live with it, but it was such a high stage. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick. I've seen it in Philadelphia for quite a long time. I've seen Andy Reid in the biggest moments of games for quite a long time. Most people just look at the final score and say, boy, Andy Reid was really close yesterday, Teddy, in that game. Just couldn't come up with the victory. But you can't come out and get shut out in the first half at home in the AFC title game with your high-priced offense that you like to run. Dominance by Bill Belichick over Andy Reid for his career, and we'll see if it continues, because it continued yesterday. Bill Belichick moves on to the Super Bowl. Andy Reid, another conference championship loss.
And look, I've got, I had a Chiefs ticket in my pocket yesterday saying, all right, I think Kansas City's the better team, even though they don't have the better coach. At the end of the game, I still think Kansas City had the better team. If the Chiefs had Belichick yesterday, they win that game by 4 touchdowns. No, that's how bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
maybe not 4 touchdowns, multiple touchdowns. KC was the better team.
It's a shame.
They did not win the game. And again, I went on nuts before on Reed's timeout. We could go on and on with things Reed did wrong in that game. But the timeout, when you give a team a touchdown in a game like this, in an overtime game, when you literally, here's a touchdown, take it. Come on, you guys. I'm so stupid. Whatever. I did it already. I can't do it again.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's we've seen it for years in Philadelphia. Andy Reid coming up lame there, calling timeouts. Well, today we're going to call a timeout on the show, on That Betting Show. Went a little bit over today. So Teddy and I could have went for hours and argued and went back and forth on those 2 conference championship games. We'll set it up for the Super Bowl as it goes on. It's early in the week. It's Monday. We have a lot of great topics for the rest of the week on That Betting Show. January 21st, MLK Day. Enjoy your bets out there, folks. If you're betting the NBA, college basketball, or even looking forward to the Super Bowl, he's Teddy Savransky. Give him a follow once again on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at Rightside VP. That was this betting show for January 21st, 2019. Join us tomorrow as we get after some more controversial topics here on SportsbookReview.com. Have a good day, folks.